This is an overview on your Math 123 Calculus 1 online course. It's going to show you how to use My Math Lab and to also how to navigate the course and to be successful in the course. To get started, we'll go to the website professortrimble.com. Professortrimble.com is where all of the course content can be found. Under professortrimble.com, there's the Math 123 link, and everything that we'll be looking at will be under the Math 123 link. Let's go ahead and look at the Getting Started page first. When you're getting started in Calculus 1, you need to read through the instructions on the Getting Started page and then step by step go through each of these requirements in order to get registered and started for the course. The first thing that you want to do is to read through the course syllabus. It's a good idea to download your course syllabus for all of your courses to make sure that you have a copy to double check your grades and to also have those available if you ever transfer schools or go to graduate school as well. Go ahead and read through the course syllabus. All of the information that you need to be successful in the course is listed here. Also, under the Getting Started page, we have a contact information form. The contact information form is graded, and you need to make sure that you complete the contact information form in order to go to the next step in the Getting Started sequence here. The contact information form asks for some basic information. First and last name, your university email address. Your university email address is your official school address, and it usually ends in a .edu of some sort. Your phone number in case I ever need to reach you, particularly on an exam date if we're having any problems getting your information to you. Your hometown, whether you're a university student or a dual credit student, your major, the school that you're currently attending, and any other comments that would be useful for you to let me know about. Once you submit this form, you will get an email at your university address, your university email address, with two pieces of information, and that's talked about right over here on this page. You'll be given a My Math Lab course ID, and you'll also be given instructions to register for the remind.com texts. You will be signing up for a texting system called remind.com that allows us to converse back and forth, and we can also use the camera on your phone or your iPad, or you can even sign up with your email if you don't have a smartphone to receive emails, and you can also sign up with a flip phone or an old-fashioned phone to receive text as well. We use the camera idea quite a bit to go ahead and ask questions in class. You can take a snapshot of your work or your screen, send me a question, and I can take a snapshot of my work or my explanation and send it back to you. So it's really important that you fill this out and then look to your university email address right away to find out these two pieces of information to go to the next step. Let's go back to the Getting Started page. After you receive the email, you'll be able to register with the remind.com. There's instructions here. When you register with remind.com, basically you can just do it over your cell phone. You'll submit a code for the class, which is in your email, and then it will ask you your name, and then you'll be registered for my course. I don't need to know your phone number to do this, and then we'll be able to converse back and forth, and you'll be able to receive class announcements about due dates, etc. The next thing you'll do is register with My Math Lab. There's complete instructions on how to do that as well if you click here, and you'll be given the My Math Lab registration code in the email that you receive after you fill out your contact information form. There's written instructions on how to fill out your My Math Lab registration, and there's also a video tutorial to run you through that as well. When you create your account in My Math Lab, there's some specific instructions, so make sure you follow those carefully. After you create your account in My Math Lab and open the course, you'll ask to fill out this information form. This gives me your username. It's a good idea for your username to just use your first last name. My Math Lab would prefer that you use your entire email address, but a lot of times if you type in your email address incorrectly at the beginning, there's problems with registering. So if you can, just use your first name last name, and then if it's already taken, you can add some numerical values to that too. Your My Math Lab email, please use your university account instead of a Gmail or a Hotmail account, because what will happen is that will match up with what your registration is for the course. So it's important that we have that university email address. When you go and access My Math Lab, you have 3 different options. You can purchase a code from the bookstore. You can purchase right on the website via credit card, or if you need access immediately and you don't have the funds to gain access right away, there's a 2-week free access that you can use, and I encourage everyone to do that. Next, you'll run a browser check in My Math Lab, and I'll show you what that looks like here in a little bit. And then if the browser check was successful, you'll answer yes. And then if you have any comments that you need to leave me here that would be helpful, you can leave those here. Next, you're going to watch the My Math Lab tutorial, which is what I'm creating right now with this video in order to help you get started with using My Math Lab. Okay, let's go back to the 123 getting started. This will be a link to the very tutorial that you're watching. This is the Proctor Forum, and again, this is graded, meaning to make sure you follow all the instructions very carefully. You'll be taking your exams with proctors, and you can choose your proctor as long as they're approved, and I'll show you how that process takes place. On the proctor page, I have written instructions on how to fill out the Proctor form, and I also have video instructions. There's 2 different proctor forms. You only need to fill out one of them. If you're using one of the official South Dakota Regental System testing centers, you'll use this top form. And what you'll do is just mark the testing center that you're going to be using, and then fill out the bottom of this, and then scan it. And you can use your PDF scanner or a regular desktop scanner and submit the file. It needs to be saved as a PDF file, so when I open it, that it's readable and full size. And it also needs to be saved as per the instructions. So make sure that you do read through those instructions. If you are not near one of these testing centers, you will need a proctor form for a private proctor. What you'll want to do is to find a private proctor in your area. A lot of times there's some directions here about who you can choose, and again, the complete instructions are listed on that page. You'll have your proctor fill out this information, and then you'll fill out the information on the bottom, sign it, scan it, and submit it. And again, complete instructions on how to do these are found with the written and the video instructions. You'll name your file, make sure it's named correctly, saved as a PDF file, and then we have any comments here. Now, as I receive your proctor forms, I will go through them and approve proctors and then text you to let you know when your proctor has been approved. If you're using one of the testing centers, the proctoring process is automatically approved. Okay, also under the Getting Started page, we have a quick little autobiography, so I can get to know my students a little bit better, know what your majors are. There's written instructions on the autobiography. This is graded. There's video instructions on how to create your autobiography. And then I have an introduction to myself in this autobiography that I've written for you guys to use as an example and to get to know me as well. Back to the Getting Started page. Last thing we have here is called Pearson Connect to a Tutor session, and this is graded as well. When you're using My Math Lab, there's a 24/7 tutor that's available through the textbook company. And this is a process that allows you to go through and interact with that tutor, and it's graded just to give you that chance of getting your first attempt at working with the tutor out of the way. So that way, if you are stuck in a spot, you can also always text me or email me as well. But if you want to connect with that tutor, it'll be easier after you get this done the first time. So this assignment is also due. So you'd select your class, last name, first name, official university email address, and then you'll take a screenshot of the proctoring session. And again, complete instructions are written here, and there's a video that runs you through this as well. After you go through the Getting Started information, you'll be able to go ahead and get started looking through the rest of the class. I think one of the handier things here that we'll have is this nice schedule. And the schedule gives all of the due dates, so it shows you where class begins, last day to drop add, when everything is due, and it's about 1 assignment per day, after all this Getting Started material is done. It also has your first unit exam deadline. Now remember, you can take your exams as early as you would like. So if you're ready to take the exam on the 18th, you're welcome to do that. You just need to let me know at least a week in advance before your exams, so I can make sure everything is ready at your proctors when you arrive to take the test. And you can also see that we have due dates for homeworks and quizzes, and then for your handwritten work will be here as well. If you would like, you can subscribe to this calendar by clicking in the bottom right hand corner, and this will be added to your Google Calendar, so you'll have all the current due dates for everything. And then at the end of the class, you can of course unsubscribe. So this is always updated. This has the entire session. And so if you want to look at due dates for anything, the entire session is mapped out for you. So that's the schedule and the calendar. The syllabi we've already talked about. Also, we have these handwritten homework assignments. You'll be submitting a handwritten homework assignment about every week or so. And what you'll do is you'll select the handwritten homework assignment that's due, and you'll just print this. And this one happens to be, I think, 5 pages. So each page that you have leaves room for you to show your work, do the problem, explain your reasoning for each thing. There's 1 problem per page. Each problem is worth 10 points, and it's graded not just on the correct solution, but it's graded on how much work you show and how you justify your solutions. And this is going to be very good practice to prepare you for the exam, because the exams will be the same format. It will be a written exam where you show your work and it's graded. Once you print this out and do the assignment, it needs to be scanned and submitted on the same web page. Now for a scanner, you can use a typical desktop scanner if you have one available to you, or you can also use a quick little scanner on your smartphone or tablet or your iPad. There's some apps that are on the page right here under the submit, called Cam Scanner is one and Tiny Scan is another. And basically what you do is you take a picture of the document and it scans it, makes it look like a scan document, black and white scan document, and then you can save it as a PDF file, name it correctly, there's naming conventions listed here, and then upload it right here. Now one thing I want you to be sure of is before you submit your scanned homework, be sure to verify that you can read the scanned document. Sometimes if you are a person that writes really light, some of that scan doesn't come through very well, so you have to make sure that it's readable in order for me to grade it. So that's the written homework assignments, and the written homework assignment due dates are also on the course schedule that we just looked at. When you get ready to take an exam, there's an exam confirmation right here. And basically a week ahead, before you're ready to take the exam, you call the proctor, set up an appointment, and then come on to this page and then let me know what exam you're confirming. University email again, your phone number in case I need to contact you, and when the appointed time is, and any other special instructions that I would need to know about the exam. This gives me about a week to make sure everything arrives at the proctor and that they are able to print everything that they need to print and have everything available to you before you take the exam. If you end up changing your appointment, just submit another confirmation form and I will get that updated information. After you submit this confirmation form, you will receive an email at your university email address confirming the exam time that you submitted. So we've looked at kind of the overview, getting started for the course. We'll also look at a grade calculator. Oftentimes students are interested in seeing, what do I need to earn on a particular assignment to bring my grade up? Well, what we have here under the under the grade calculator is a spot for you to enter grades, and they could be your actual grades or they could be hypothetical grades. You might say, what happens if I get 100% on the getting started, which everyone should, and I have an 80 on my handwritten homework. Your MyMathLab homework is listed in MyMathLab, so you can just go there to see what that looks like. Let's say we have 90 on that, because you have to have a 90 or higher to advance to the next assignment. MyMathLab quizzes, you have to have at least an 80 or higher to advance to the next assignment. And let's say for our unit exam, so far we have a 75, 89, a 67, and then I think, what do I need to get on this last exam? Well, let's say I'm going to shoot for 100% and see what happens. Now the output here says if I get 100% on that last exam, I could get an 84 in the class. And then you might come up here and say, well, what if I could get my homework scores or my quiz scores up to a 90? What would the effect be? And you can go through and manipulate these to see the overall effect on your grade. Now again, all of these scores are listed in My Math Lab for you to transfer over, and then you can change them to kind of see what the overall effect is on your grade. The last thing are these video lectures. Now the video lectures, after you click here, are videos specifically designed to help you learn how to use the content of the course in My Math Lab to do homeworks and quizzes. It also is to give you an idea of how to do the handwritten part of your assignments and to prepare for exams. So the video lectures are specifically designed for that. Now let's go ahead and get started in My Math Lab. The front page will always have a schedule of some sort. In the summertime, it's usually the next fall schedule ready. The Math Assistance Center is not open in the summer, but during the regular semester, the max hours are listed here. And then you can access My Math Lab through this link. After you've created your My Math Lab account on the Getting Started page, you'll see your course listed, and it looks something like this. Now we have a couple of tabs down the side. The Assignments tab are where all of your assignments are listed. Make sure when you're looking at the Assignments tab at the top here, if you just have quizzes and tests listed, you won't see the homeworks. And if you just have homeworks listed, you won't see the quizzes. So it's always a good idea to make sure you're at Show All here. Now sometimes these assignments can jump and arrow through and kind of take you right into the middle of the course. So make sure you're always on the correct page with the correct assignment numbers. So this is your Assignments tab. There's also a Gradebook tab. It won't be very exciting right now because nothing has really happened too much for the course yet, but I do have a couple of dummy assignments here. If you notice, I see one thing, this incomplete. It means I've started a quiz, but I haven't finished a quiz. So if I click on here to go back into the quiz, I'd actually have to come out to my Assignments tab to do that, and I'll see the same incomplete out here. It will pick up where I left off, and you would just click I'm ready to start, and then you can go on from there. Now the due dates for everything are listed right down the side, and they match up with what's listed on the syllabus and the course schedule that we just looked at. If you were ready to start an assignment, you just click on the homework assignment and get started by looking at the questions. You don't have to do these in order, but you can jump around if you want to. Anytime a homework question is completed, what we'll do is we'll see either that it's right or wrong right away. If we are wanting to correct it, and I hope that you all do that, you can take up to 3 attempts on a homework problem and then say, you know what, I'm not getting this, please give me my answer, and then we'll give you a similar exercise. So this is an example of a homework assignment. Now, some of your homework assignments will look just like this one with the circles, but some of you will have a drop-down menu depending on what browser you're using. So you might see something a little different. To get help while you're on an assignment, you have a Help Me Solve This button that will run you through solving this exact problem, or view an example that will show you a similar problem. This will take you to the textbook so you can see some similar problems. This is that Connect to a Tutor that I told you about. The Tutor is available 24/7. You can ask me a question as well via email, but I do prefer texting. And you can also print the problem if you prefer to work these by hand. So let's see what happens here. This says, what is f of 1? So that means they want us to plug 1 in here, and our answer would be 1 cubed is 1, 1 plus 2 is 3. So our answer is 2/3. Now it says type an integer or a simple fraction. So I can't write 0.6667. I have to write it as an integer or a simplified fraction. So I can do 2/3, or I can choose this fraction button over here. I like the shortcut keys. So if you hover right here, you'll notice that the slash is showing, and I can just use a slash on my keyboard to get a fraction as well. So the correct answer is 2/3. I'm going to put in the wrong answer just to see what happens. So I'm going to put in 2/5. So it's telling me it's incorrect. It kind of gives me a hint of what to try. I'm going to keep getting the wrong answer here. And this is my third and my final attempt. and that's my final check, and it's saying, you know what, it's not correct. This is what you should have gotten, is this 2/3, and I'm done. Now, if you notice the little red check in the top right-hand corner, this is saying I got the problem wrong. This answer that's showing is correct, but if I hover here, it shows me what I was answering as my last attempt that was incorrect. Now, if I want to, I can jump through these. Whoops, I guess there's another part to this question. So for this second part, let's go ahead and make up another one. Let's call this 2. I guess we could actually do this one correct so you can see the difference here. Z squared cubed would be z to the 6th. Now I want an exponent here, so I'd use the math palette. And I see that that superscript is there. I can also use the Shift 6 key on your keyboard. So that would be z to the 6th plus 2. So let's see if I have this right or if I need to try another attempt. Oh, I got this one right. Okay, so that's good. So this one does not have the red check mark, but if you notice up here, it shows part of it's right and part of it's wrong. So I have a little red and a little green. Now if I want to redo this for full credit, because right now you can see I only have a half of a point on this problem, I can click similar exercise and redo that problem. So in this case, that would be 3 cubed is 27 plus 1 is 28. And then my z cubed, plugging that in just so I can see the difference between right and wrong. So that would be z to the 6th plus 1. And those keyboard shortcuts are really nice. So you can see now that I've replaced that partially incorrect problem with the correct answer. And now I have 1 out of 1 points there in my full credit. Now I wouldn't want to hit similar exercise now because I have it correct. What I can do is just go ahead and go on to the next problem and keep working. So this is a homework assignment, and you'll want to work through the homework assignments till I have all green check marks everywhere. You have to get a 90% or higher on a homework assignment to move on to the next assignment, whether it's a homework or a quiz. So again, that's an example of a homework. Quizzes are a little bit different. Quizzes, I have to work through the entire problem before I can see whether a problem was right or wrong. And I can't just fix the ones that I want to. I have to go back and retake the entire quiz. So taking that entire quiz is going to be pretty important. So this is an example of a quiz, and I would just work through this quiz. I can stop the quiz anytime I want. If, let's say, I'm going to have to run to lunch and I want to exit out of the quiz and finish it later. And the way I can do that is by just choosing the exit. And if I have a Mac, that exit is going to be over here on the left. So I just exit out and I would say leave this page, and it will keep that attempt that I have here, and it says it's just incomplete right now. So again, when we're working on these quizzes, make sure that you're checking your answers, because if you don't check your answers, you know, the odds of getting some wrong are pretty high, and then I have to go back in and retake the entire quiz instead of just the problems that are missed. Now there's a lot of websites you can use to check your answers. A couple that I'll show you. One would be Wolfram Alpha. And again, these are used to check answers, not to do your work, because you will not have this available to you on an exam, so you don't want to use it as a crutch. Basically with Wolfram Alpha, you go ahead and put a problem in. I guess I don't really remember what any of the problems were that we were looking at, but we could look at something like 3 over x squared plus 1. So we're trying to look at the graph. So we can see that it correctly interprets my 3 over x squared plus 1. It tries to look at a bit of a graph, and it's telling me some information on it. It's called an even function. When we get into Calc 2, we'll start talking about Taylor series expansions. It's talking about its derivative and its integral. So it gives you quite a bit of information here. Now, the step-by-step solution bit, that's only if you have a pro account, and I don't really think you need to purchase a pro account, but if you want step-by-step solutions, you can do that. There's other websites as well. Another one that I can think of would probably be Mathway. So Mathway is another good website that you can do to check your answers, especially on quizzes. And you'll get to figure out which of these websites is your favorite and which one you'd rather use for which type of problems. This is Mathway. Of course, we'll probably be using the calculus and the algebra and the trigonometry quite a bit. And one more for graphing that I really like for graphing is called Desmos. And so Desmos is a graphing calculator and does a lot of really neat stuff. So those are some websites that I encourage you to check your answers with, especially on a quiz, to make sure that they're correct before you submit them. Again, use this as a tool to check answers, not to do your work for you, because on a test you will not have access to these. Okay, let's see what else we have here. Okay, we're on the assignments tab. After you finish your assignments, you can see your scores down the side. Mine aren't so good right now, but as we continue the course, these will populate. If you want to see your overall score, you go over here to Gradebook. And each of your attempts are listed here on all of your assignments. If I had 7 attempts for this quiz, all 7 attempts would be listed. What I can do then is I can go through, if I want to look for a particular problem, and click Review. And I can go and review through this, and it will not change my solutions. It won't change my grade on this. And in order to change my grade, I have to go back into the Assignments tab. So I could just click on any of these and review the problems. It's not going to be a grade for it. Now, if I wanted to, I could look at the textbook for a similar problem. I can also do my Connect to a Tutor here as well. There could be a Help Me Solve This and a Show Me an Example as well that will show up on some of these. So that's a way you can always go back through and review your work. Also in the Gradebook tab, you can click Show Overall Score, and this shows you the score in your class. Now, like I said, so far not so good. This is my homework average, your quiz average, your getting started average, and your individual scores, as well as your handwritten homework. These are the same ones that we use, these same scoring categories that we used when we were looking on the online grade calculator. So there's a big similarity there. So those are some examples of what we can do here in My Math Lab to start looking at your homeworks and your quizzes. One other thing, we do have a link here to our course website if you want to get to the course website very fast. And one thing that's worth mentioning about the quizzes is that it only takes the highest of all your attempts. So if I try this quiz 4 times, even if my highest grade was on my second attempt, it will only count the highest out of all my attempts. So don't worry about trying to increase your grade and doing worse. It will only count the highest of attempts. Assignments tab is here as well. Under the Assignments tab, you can see that we have how many attempts that we have. This should be an infinity sign, I believe, for your quiz attempts. Okay, so I'll make sure that those get updated to be consistent. We also have some other resources here. We have the chapter contents. So if you want to download anything, you can here as well. There's a solutions manuals for some of the problems in the textbook if you'd like to work extra problems. And then we have direct links to the homework assignments in the chapters if you would prefer to work problems from the textbook. They don't count towards your grade, but they are good to look at in terms of reviewing material. I hope this overview was helpful, running through kind of some of the course requirements and also some of the getting started information. The getting started information is so important so we can get all started off on the right track and have the same set of expectations for the class. As usual, if you ever need any help, please email me, and you are also welcome to text me once we get that texting service set up. And then you can also work with the Connect to a Tutor if you have any math questions, but if you have course questions, please save those for me. Good luck this semester, and please let me know what I can do to help.